What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to talk about wide receiver Drake London. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys for your continued support, continuing to share out my content on all the social media platforms. If you would like to follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So as I mentioned in today's video, I do want to talk about wide receiver Drake London and how the Atlanta Falcons can get him more involved in the offense. We did see coming out of USC, you guys know that Drake London was my top wide receiver on my draft board. He was one of my favorite prospects covering up until the draft before we drafted him out of USC. He's 6'4", about 220 pounds, and he's a really solid wide receiver. But I think that the Falcons have to find a way to get him the ball a little bit more so he can affect these games a little bit more. Now, we did see last week, I did state that I think last week was the best play calling I saw from Arthur Smith and Dave Ragone all season, especially when it came to trying to get Drake London the football. We've seen them use Drake London in a lot of different ways where they tried to get him the football. For the very first time, I seen Drake London come on a jet sweep where it was just like a pop pass is what they call it. He came on a jet sweep, they threw him the ball, and he was able to pick up a first down. I feel like the Atlanta Falcons have to get Drake London more involved in this offense where he can affect these games a little bit more. Now, it has been a culmination of different reasons why Drake London hasn't been involved as much as he could, or he hasn't been targeted as much as he should. And one of those reasons, I've talked about it during our live shows this season, is the offensive line play. We're really good at run blocking, but we haven't been really good in pass protection. So a lot of Marcus Mariota's throws at times are inaccurate. So that's been one of the reasons why Drake London doesn't have the amount of catches he should have. And then another reason is a lot of the times either Marcus Mariota is getting sacked or he's having to scramble because the offensive line isn't holding up and giving him enough time to look down the field and make an accurate throw. So that's part of the reason why Drake London hasn't gotten the targets I think he should. Another reason why he hasn't gotten the ball as much as I think he should is he's a rookie. So he hasn't really fully developed in this league yet. Him and Marcus Mariota, they're still gaining that chemistry. Now, I think the first way that we can possibly start getting him the ball a little bit more is what I mentioned, is moving him around the formation. Don't just leave him on the outside, but move him around, move him in the slot. When he played at USC, they used him a lot in the slot because he had two wide receivers playing in front of him. They had Amon-Ra St. Brown, now the Detroit Lions, who was the #1 wide receiver when Drake London arrived on USC's campus. So he had to learn how to play other positions so he was able to get on the football field. So that's one of the ways where you can get Drake London the ball a little bit more in this offense, is moving him around the formation. Don't just place him on the outside, but put him in the slot. He's similar to Mohamed Sanu because he's a bigger body wide receiver. But if you guys remember when Mohamed Sanu was with our Atlanta Falcons, he was great at moving the chains for our Atlanta Falcons because you could put him in the slot. He was a big body wide receiver, similar to a tight end, but he had really good feet. He could run great routes for a bigger wide receiver. And that's the same thing with Drake London. We've seen numerous times this year where he's run great routes to get open. He's a route technician. So he's really good at getting open. You just have to put him in situations where you make it harder on the defense to double team him. Right now, I think that the Falcons kind of have made it too easy on the opposing defenses of allowing them to bracket coverage Drake London. The way that you confuse the defense and you make it a little bit harder on them to figure out how to double team him is putting him in bunch formations, switching up your formations, putting him in tight formations where you force a linebacker to cover him or you force your third corner, because a lot of outside corners and top corners in the NFL don't like to play in the slot. So if you put him in the slot, you give him the upper hand of playing against lesser tiered cornerbacks where he may be going up against a third or fourth corner on that team. So That's one of the ways I think the Falcons could get him the ball a little bit more. The second way I think that the Atlanta Falcons can get him the ball a little bit more is going to come down to Drake London and Marcus Mariota. Those guys have to get together after practice and they have to work on go-to routes. What routes that Drake London likes, what routes that Marcus Mariota feels comfortable with throwing. If you look at the elite wide receivers and quarterback combinations over the years, the Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, they developed that back shoulder fade that was almost impossible to stop. And that's why you seen when Aaron Rodgers was playing with Devontae Adams, he would target him 10 plus times a game because those guys had that chemistry and they knew on third and, critical downs, third and, 5, third and 6, or when they were in a tight red zone, they had certain routes. That back shoulder fade was their go-to or their bread and butter. Right now, I don't feel like Marcus Mariota and Drake London have developed that chemistry. They haven't developed those couple routes that are their bread and butter plays. But I feel like they have to figure out what bread and butter, what's going to be their bread and butter plays. Matt Ryan and Roddy White, when they were together, that curl route was their bread and butter. You would see Roddy White run up for about 7 or 8 yards like he's going to go for a streak pattern and then just turn around and Matt Ryan would put the ball on him. He would show Matt Ryan that number 84. Matt Ryan would put the ball on him before the defender could come back and set his feet. So that was like their bread and butter play that you've seen over the years where they had that connection. Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, they had about 3 different plays, dig routes, like a 10-yard to 11-yard dig route was one of Julio Jones' go-to plays with Matt Ryan. What we've seen over the years when they would go up tempo, Matt Ryan would throw him the ball consistently, but they had about 3 or 4 plays because Julio Jones was one of those guys that could run every single route on the route tree, and he was really good at getting in and out of his break, so it was hard to stop him. But I think that the Falcons have to get Marcus Mariota and Drake London have to, put the onus on themselves after practice to develop that chemistry, but they have to come up with a bread and butter play. Another elite combo was Drew Brees and Michael Thomas. As much as we rag on Michael Thomas for being slant Thomas, those slant patterns that they ran were really, really hard to stop. And that was one of the reasons why you seen Michael Thomas lead the league in receptions and yardage, because he was one of those guys where when he had Drew Brees, they had that chemistry where when it came down to a crucial down, you knew that they were going to throw that slant, but it was not much you could do about it because Michael Thomas is one of the most physical wide receivers in football at that time, and he had really good hands. So I really think that Drake London and Marcus Mariota have to get together. They have to come up with, some type of chemistry and some go-to bread and butter type plays. So when it comes down to crucial situations and clutch situations, the defense can know that he's going to get the ball, but it's not any way that you can stop it. And the last thing that I want to say, or lastly, the third way that I think that the Falcons can get the ball to Drake London a little bit more would be don't be so scared to throw the ball deep to Drake London. Give him a chance to put the ball up, because I haven't seen really a lot of deep patterns this year for Drake London. He's run a lot of intermediate stuff and short stuff, but I think that you have to give Drake London more opportunities down the field, because he's one of those guys, if he's in one-on-one coverage, you're able to throw the ball up to him, and he has experience of being a great basketball player as well. So throw that ball up and give him a chance to get those 50-50 balls. He's going to come down 9 times out of 10. He's going to come down with the ball. Now, one of the reasons I think we haven't seen those deep patterns is because coverage is being rolled to him when he's out deep. But in the red zone, we've seen a couple plays where he's caught the ball in the back of the end zone. We have to give him a chance to make plays, where you throw the ball up to him and give him an opportunity when he's running down the field, not just on the short patterns. Don't be so predictable on just throwing him intermediate and, screen passes, but also let him go down the field. He's not the fastest guy, but he's great at locating the football. He's great at adjusting his body to the football. So we have to give him more chances to make explosive plays and chunk plays. I feel like one of the reasons that we're not seeing the chunk plays for our Atlanta Falcons is because, for one, I mentioned the offensive line hasn't really held up that well. And then also we're not giving Drake London the opportunity at the deep ball. I've been seeing a lot of Demir Bird and Zacchaeus, running those deep patterns because of their speed. But the deep ball is not mainly just predicated on having speed. It also is predicated on if you know how to track the football, and it's predicated on if you're able to go up and make plays. And I feel like in some of these games, like the one game where we won against the Panthers, but it was an interception that Marcus Mariota threw in that overtime. Demir Bird didn't make any attempt to go up and catch the ball. He allowed the defender to go up and intercept the ball, and he fell to the ground. Where if that's a player like a Drake London in a jump ball situation, 9 times out of 10, Drake London is going to come up with the catch, or he's going to knock the football down, but it's not going to be an interception. The same thing we seen in that Rams game in week 2, where Marcus Mariota tried to throw the ball on like a skinny post to Edwards. And it basically the ball fluttered in the air, and the ball was picked off by Jalen Ramsey at the goal line. To me, that's a route for a guy like Drake London. In that instance, yes, there still could be an interception, but I think you want to give Drake London, to me, he's the best wide receiver on this team, and you want to give him the opportunity to make those plays. You don't want to rely necessarily on your 3rd or 4th best wide receiver, and put them in those situations in clutch moments. You want to get the ball to your best target in those situations, either Kyle Pitts when he wasn't injured, or Drake London. Those are the 2 guys that you want to give those 50-50 balls. Those balls should be going to the Kyle Pitts of the world and the Drake Londons of the world, because 9 times out of 10, that's what make those guys great Pro Bowl, caliber players. They have the attributes to make those type of catches in traffic. But with that being said, you guys let me know what you think about the video. Let me know of ways that you think that the Falcons can be more productive in getting Drake London the ball. I don't believe in force feeding one player. I do believe in spreading the football around, but I do think that Drake London can have more impact than he's had so far this season. And those are some of the ways I think that the Falcons should try to get him more involved in this offense, especially, when it comes down to these crucial 3rd and 5, and you need a play to be made. You want to get the ball into your number 1 pick's hands and your playmakers' hands. But with that being said, this being your boy Jew. If you enjoy my content, please hit that subscribe button for your boy. We currently are on the road to 2,000 subscribers and beyond. But with that being said, I'll holler at you guys in the next video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace.